Hello everyone. In this session I am going to discuss about the input and print function. Input and print function both are very important function in Python language. Even the behavior of input and print both are very important in any programming language because of these both functions we can put the data or we can get the data. So here are the topics which I am going to cover in this session. The first is input function. What is input function? Input function is a predefined function which allow to take the input from the console input device. What do you mean by the console input device here? Console input device are the connected or the concerned device which are connected with your system for accepting the input given by the user. So basically here input function allow us to accept the input given by the user and put that input and prepare that input with the variables. So input function, here we can see the input function with the predefined function. This is the syntax of the input function. As we know, in any language the compiler always start the compilation, or any translator always start the compilation of data from right to left, because the right side is always defined as a greatest side than the left side. So it always started from the always start the reading of the data from the right side instead of the left side. So it read the message first, which is completely optional. If we take the message, it read the message first, then prepare your device to take the input, and when you take the input it return that input or hold that input by the with the variable area, or the area which hold by your variables. So basically here equals to sign is responsible to assign the data which are taken by the input function to the variable name. So let's check it with the example. Let's start with the input first. Here we take a message. So as we know, it started from the right to left, right? So the first statement which print on your output screen is enter a number. After print the enter a number statement, input function wait till you input some data by the keyboard or your console input device, and when you put the data, when you enter the data with your connected device, with your connected input device, it hold by the input function, and after that it assigned to the variable. What is variable here? Variable, as we know, variable is a storage unit or behave like a container which hold the data. So the data hold by variable is given by the input function to variable. So it works from right to left. So the first statement which print, that is enter a number, then input will wait till you put the number, and when you enter the number, input function return or assign that number to the A. Okay, so let's check with the we can check it by the using the execution of the program. So this is the statement, enter a number, and when we put the number, suppose 98, it hold by who? It hold by A. But this is only the input statement. This is not the output statement. So it asks for the number, and when we put the number, when we enter the number, it returns back to the from your output screen after entering of the number. So to check the value of A, we have to use the print statement here. Now again when you start the execution, it asks for the number. When you put the number, it returns the output, that is 45, and hold by who? The a variable. So here we can see the work of input. Now suppose we delete that particular message from this area. What will be the output? The output will be same here, but it does not display any message. So here we can see there is the difference between the message or without the message. So we have to be conclude by our own self what we want to put here. But in the message format, it easily define or explain that what is the next task we have to be done here. So when we put the number, it prints that number, but it does not display any message for us. In that case, the message which we put as a parameter in the input function is behave like a user-friendly message for us. Through this message, we can easily identify the next work of the data, or what we want to execute, or what we want to put here. Enter number. So here we can see the work of input function, which is actually responsible to take the input from the console input device. By default, whatever we put in the through the input device is present in a form of a string only. It means we have to be convert them from its equivalent integer form. Suppose here we take the enter a number and use print a. Suppose here we have two different numbers for the sum of your program. Now we use enter a number again for b and put a plus b. When we run the program, it asks for the number. We put 9 and 8, so it will return 9 plus 8, that is 98 instead of the 17. But according to me, it need to be returned the sum of 9 plus 8. So here it proves that anything which we get by the input function is stored in the string format. So the default nature of your data is always present in the string format instead of their natural form. So in that case, to present or to return back the data in the natural form, we have to use the type conversion method. So what is type conversion method here? When all the data dropped in a string form, we have to convert them in its equivalent different form. That is, if we want to find the sum of a and b, we have to convert that a and b into its equivalent integer form or the numerical form. For this, we have to put int function before the input function. So whatever we get from the input device are automatically converted by the int function first and then stored in with the a variable. Again, it works similar with the v variable also. So when we use int function, which is also the predefined function, automatically convert the string equivalent data into its equivalent integer form. So here, when we return the sum of a and b, it returns 17 instead of 9 and 8. So here we can see when we put the data in without using the type conversion method. It just concate the data, and if we use the type conversion method, it just return the value after the summation of the data. So basically type conversion method are some predefined method such as int, which is responsible to convert your data into the int equivalent, float, which converts your data into the float equivalent, and so on. So basically these type conversion functions are responsible for the conversion of your data before the execution. Now the next is print function. What is print function? As like input function, print function is also connected with the console output device. If input function is connected with the input device, it connected with your console output device, or the output device which is completely dedicated for the output work of your system, output function of your system. So as we know, it works with the console output device. Let's check the message with the print function. So here we put the message sum equals to, and then here we have to use a comma for the separator between two objects, where the first object is behave like a message and the second object is the combination of the variable, represent the sum of the variable. So it asks for the number, put the number first, then it returns sum equals to. So here we can see the sum equals to prints the message, or we can say the user friendly message in the print statement. So after this, more on output statement. We can also use the separator or some other parameter with the print function. So let's check that parameter with the print function. We can see print function provide us the facility to print the output, but with the output we can also print the user friendly message to identify the behavior of the output. And print function also provides us the facility to pass some parameter in the function, which is completely optional, but through those parameters we can easily format the outputted data on the output screen. So let's check those parameters with the print function. For that, use the print statement. Suppose here we have two numbers, that is a equals to 10, then b equals to 23. Again print a comma b. It just returns the value of a and b, nothing else. So when you run your program, it returns the value of a or the value of b. Look, it returns 10 and 23 here, but here we can see here a space between 10 and 23, which is a default behave like a default separator between these two values, or between any values of the print statement. So if we want to ignore that space and put, suppose we want to put the comma instead of the space, in that case we have to be pass a parameter separator, that is SEP, with the comma symbol, so that it get the comma instead of the space between two values. So here we put the comma to call the separator SEP, and then now we want to put the comma instead of the space, so just use comma sign, and if we run the program, it returns comma and remove the space between these two values. So separator is behaved like a parameter or defined as a parameter which pass some symbol with the statement and allow us to print that symbol with our values. We can get any symbol here and it returns that symbol as an output in the of program. So it just ignored the space and put some specific symbol between the values. If we use two different print statement here, suppose if we want to print A with a single print statement and print B with another statement, sorry, okay, so what will be the output? Look, as we can see, a new line automatically generated between both print statement. So 10 returns by A, the first line of the print statement, and 23 returns by B, the second line of the print statement. Here, a new line generated between two print statement which behave like a print with a new line. So to ignore that print new line of a space, we can use the end parameter in the print statement. So if we use the end parameter, we have to use the comma and then call the end equals to, and suppose we want to use comma instead of the new line between both printer statement. So if we run the program, look, we can see it just removes the new line format and returns the comma symbol instead of the new line. So by default, the new line is the default format of the end statement of the print function, but we can use different symbol at the end of the statement or some specific character also with the end statement of the print function, so that it just ignore the new line and allow us to put that particular symbol between the variables value. So here we can see if we don't use SEP, by default a space is placed between two different content which is behave like a here spaces behave like a separator, default separator between the values or between two object or the between two different content. As similar, if we talk about end parameter, a new line is behave like a value of the end statement, and we can get any character, we can get any symbol instead of the new line with the end parameter. Now the next topic is formatted string with the output function, that is the print function. As like any other language, Python also provides us the facility of a specifier through which we can easily provide a formatted output environment for our outputted data. Suppose if we want to print, suppose we want to use that output in that case, we can use the specifier with the print function of the Python. So these values are generated by the specifier which have some predefined format with the print function. So the syntax of that format string in the print function is that we can put the format string and then the percent sign and then the variable name. Suppose this is the example, so let's check with that example first. The next topic is replacement operator, which controlled or executed by the format function. Format is a predefined function which allows to change the format of the outputted data of the print statement. It also provides us the facility to replace the behavior of the statement or the variable according to the requirement of user. So if we use the format string, it always explain the content with the curly braces. These curly braces are here represent as a replacement operator. So let's check the replacement operator and the format function with an example. So suppose these are some constant value. One is in the integer form, another one is in the float form, and the last one is in the string format. So here we can use the format function for the formatted output instead of the specifier. So to get the value, use the print function, then the message. Suppose the message is x equals to y equals to z equals to. Now we have to use the replacement operator, so it replaces the value of message of x with the value of x. Here we have to be called the format function by the dot with the dot operator. So use the format with the dot operator and pass the name of the variable with the format as a parameter of the format function. So put x comma y comma z. Here x y z just placed in the curly braces of x, in the curly braces of y, and in the curly braces of z. So suppose if, okay, so this is a replacement operator or the format function which allow us to replace the value with the replace the statement with the value. So here x y z is behaved like an index where x represents the 0, the space of x represents the 0, the space of y represents by 1, and the space of z represents by 2. So here if by default the blank curly braces put 0, 1 and 2. Suppose we change the space like z, x and y, it returns it treated z as a 0, x as a 1 and y as a 2. So the output will be changed here. So this is the output which is completely wrong. So in that way we have to be pass the index value for the correct answer or for the correct output. So here the index value of x is 1, so we have to be put 1 here. The index value of y is 2, so we have to be put 2, and that is 0, so we have to be put 0. Now when we run the program, it will return the correct output. So here we can see the format function work with the index format. So this is another way to execute the format function in your program. By default, if we don't get any value with the pass any value in the curly braces, it will automatically pass the default value started from 0, 1 and 2. So to put the right value, we have to be pass the index. Format function also allowed to assign the variable directly inside the replacement operator. So to assign the variable directly inside the replacement operator, we have to be pass the constant value here. instead of this value, these values. So for this, suppose we pass the value x, y and z here, and again we have to assign the values in the format function. So just get the value z equals to ISM x equals to 10, comma, y equals to suppose 7.0, comma. Okay, so it will also return the same value. So here replacement operator work with the index, it work with the assigned value also. Here we can check the print statement with the format function as well as with the specifier, with the separator and with the int parameter also. So this is for the input and the output function, students. Thank you very much.